Hi, and welcome back to my channel. So you're thinking about becoming a nurse? Well, let me tell you, it's not all scrubs and saving lives. Here's why becoming a nurse may not be the right choice for you. Okay, guys, so let's dive into this. So, as you may know, I'm a registered nurse and I am currently out of a job. My position was outsourced overseas. And so, what I was doing at the time that this happened was reviewing charts from home. Now, the majority of my nursing career has been spent in home health and hospice. I did spend a couple of years in the hospital, just getting the experience and the nursing knowledge that I needed. And then I got out and did something different. I was not happy working in the hospital. The 12-hour shifts when you're young may seem easy, but as you get older, those are going to become more difficult. And the physical requirements of that job will harm you in the long run. So that's one of the positions that I'm in now. I've got severe stenosis in my lumbar. I have sciatica. The muscles that are along the spine of my lumbar have to work extra hard to stabilize my spine. And so now at 55 years old, I am unable to lift patients and move patients, which if you are in any aspect of nursing and you're doing hands-on care, that's pretty much a requirement of the job. So for the last 4 years, I have been working in nursing management, and I have found that in nursing management, those roles come and go like a revolving door. Hospitals do not care about you. Doctors' offices do not care about you. Home health companies do not care about you. Hospice companies do not care about you. They have one goal, and that is the bottom line, the bottom dollar. And their goal each and every quarter is to make a bigger profit than last quarter. And irregardless of your work performance, your personality, none of that matters in the long run. If they see where they can cut a budget and put more money into the CEO's pockets, that's exactly what they're going to do. So another thing, I've got a couple of notes here. All right, so we talked about the physical toll. Let's talk about unrealistic expectations. So if you're in the hospital, you're working 12-hour shifts. So you might as well chalk that up to a 14-hour shift because you're expected to be there and clock in early. As much as 15 minutes early, it could be 20 minutes early, it's whatever they tell you. And then you have no time to chart in between caring for your patients. So then you're expected to stay after your shift to complete all of your documentations. So you could be, there for 14 or 15 hours a day, go home and be expected to go back and do the same thing the very next day. The only perk with that is they're usually 3 days a week. However, there's also high stress and responsibility with that. There's lack of family time in that. You don't have a good work-life balance. And, you're expected to work nights when needed, even if they hire you on for a day shift. I know some hospitals require you to do both. So you may work a day shift one week and then the next week you're expected to work on a night shift. You also have to work holidays. So you miss Christmases, Thanksgivings, you miss your kids' birthdays. You may be expected to work your anniversary unless you plan to take that day off in advance. The workload that you experience in the hospital is not worth the pay that you get. Now, I do recommend a new nurse work in a hospital in the niche of nursing that you want to spend the rest of your career in. So if you're a nurse who wants to be in pediatrics, I would suggest that while you're in nursing school, apply at the hospital and work as a patient care tech, or those are the people that go around and do all of the vitals. They clean patients, give patients baths, that sort of thing. Change the linen, and apply for those positions in the area where you want to work, whether it's pediatrics, if it's the ER, if it's in cardiovascular, whatever. Go into that area. That's how you get your foot in the door. Then when you become a nurse, stay there 1 year, maybe 2 years to get that experience under your belt. But then, explore other areas, travel nursing. You're never in one spot for more than a couple of months if you don't want to be, especially if you're single with no children. That's where all the money is. If you don't like a place, your time is limited there. So you're not there for more than 13 weeks for one contract. Let me see what my other notes are. We talked about the pay. I went to nursing school. Well, I graduated nursing school in 2009. And at the time, a grad nurse in a trauma hospital was barely making $20 an hour. So I'm not sure what it is now, but it really was not worth the work, or it wasn't worth the pay. The older nurses that I worked with and that were supposed to precept me, they were like coyotes. I mean, they want to eat you up and spit you out because they kind of feel like you're coming on board to take their jobs. And they really don't want to teach you, or they teach you the wrong things on purpose. They don't help you. You're supposed to work as a team, and they don't want to help you. New nurses going into a hospital only have the book knowledge. They really haven't worked in the real world. And so when you go in as a new nurse, it's hard because they forget that at one point they were new nurses as well. And so you have to deal with all of the politics of that. And you don't slow down. I mean, when they say you don't eat and you hold your pee all day, they're not lying. So we talked about the physical, but there's also the mental stress, because some of the patients that you run into in the hospital, and especially in home health, well, in the hospital, they may be frequent flyers, and you see them decline each time they come in. You deal with the death, especially if you're working in the ER. You see things that are unimaginable. You deal with death on a daily basis. You see people who are neglected, children who are neglected, and it can be heart-wrenching sometimes. In home health, it's a little bit different because you get the patient at their one of the worst points in their life. They're going through a difficult time. You see them on a regular basis. You can see them anywhere from 1 to 3 times a week, and you get to actually see the outcome. Whereas you may go in and have a patient, let's say you're working Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. You might take care of that patient on Monday and Tuesday, but you go in on Thursday and that patient is gone. And you've invested your time, your emotion, your empathy on that patient, and then you don't know what the outcome is. With home health, it's a little bit different. You get to see them get better due to your efforts in your education and knowledge that you're giving them. And so that can be rewarding. But the other aspect of it is healthcare is constantly changing and evolving. And as I said a little bit earlier, they're in it to make money. It's a business. And as much as they say you're valued and you're appreciated, you're really not. And just keep in mind that HR is not there for you. They're there to protect the company. So if you have, let's say, sexual harassment in the workplace, go talk to a lawyer. Don't go speak to HR, because HR is then going to start from the jump to try to cover that up and protect the company. So don't ever take anything like discrimination or sexual harassment or anything of that nature to HR, because they do not care about you. And as long as you go into it understanding that, home health in general, healthcare in general is constantly changing and evolving. And keep in mind, the only thing that they care about is that bottom line. They care about their profits. And I'm talking about the presidents, the CEOs, the financial officers, upper management like that. Now, your in-office personnel, that is where the camaraderie happens and the friendships are made and developed, and where you can work as a team. But understand that that branch manager does not make the decisions that upper management makes. So everything in that branch office may be great, but you get a CEO who didn't get the bonus that he wanted that year. So he's going to cut jobs and cut corners so that he can get a better bonus at the end of the next year. And that's just the reality of it. I don't think it's really about company profit as much as it is their personal profit. And the company, home health care, makes money. Point blank period, they make money. I haven't heard of a hospital going under, have you? In the last, 5 decades. I know that I was a patient in the most expensive hospital in the country, and it was here in Florida in the Panhandle. And their nursing staff was absolutely ridiculous. I almost died in that hospital, and for the simple fact that a physician's order was not followed. So if you're a caregiver and that is your personality and that's what you want to do in life, just go into it knowing all the facts. It's not all glitz and glamour. I know when you're young, you have a ton of energy, you are ambitious, and you have a morbid curiosity, I guess, to see stuff and be involved in stuff. Just know going into it that when you start hitting your 40s and your early 50s, that things may not go well for you in the health industry. And just be prepared for that, because that's what I'm going through right now. Our positions were outsourced overseas, and now this company does not have a space for me here in this area where we're living. So I'm looking at trying to stay with the same company, just doing it outside of, in a different city outside of Tallahassee, which is going to mean that now I have to move. And changing jobs at 55 years old is really, really difficult. It's challenging mentally and physically. But I'm hanging in there. But I wanted to make this video for those of you who are thinking about becoming a nurse. Just go into it with all the facts. Interview them. When you go in for an interview, do your own interview. Ask questions. Ask why that position is available. And if someone has left the company and they're trying to fill that position, ask why that person left the company. Did they get terminated, which they may or may not tell you, or if somebody walked away. In home health, they tend to overload the clinicians out in the field. You're expected to do a certain amount of productivity during the day, and lots of times they put more on you than that, for the simple fact that they're getting orders from the top to take every referral that they get from a doctor or a hospital. Well, they only allow you to have the staff to service the amount of patients that you currently have. So it's really difficult for branch managers to not overload their clinicians, but it happens and they do it all the time. And then you have clinicians get burned out and they leave. And so nursing, especially in home health, it's like a revolving door. You have nurses come, you have nurses go, because they get burned out so quickly. It is a great career. Don't get me wrong. It has served me well. I have made good money. I was blessed to get into nursing management early in my career. I went into management with 5 years of nursing under my belt. And so that's where my nursing career started. And I have stayed in that up until this point. And where I'm at and the company that I'm with, I've made good money. But just consider everything that I've talked about here before you decide to become a nurse. And if you still decide to go into it, I wish you all the best. Be mindful, if you're in that career for a while, that, you know, when new nurses come on board, they need your expertise, they need your knowledge and your experience to help them to continue on nursing once you retire. Please be compassionate and empathetic with patients. And I guess that's all I have to say on that. But anyway, guys, I hope this video has helped you if you're trying to decide on a nursing career. And if you do, I hope this helps you decide on which area of nursing that you want to go into. And if there's anything about nursing that you would like to see me do a video on, just let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I will talk to you guys on the next one. Bye now.